Hey gaming fans, so today I have another Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile, and this one is Ghostricks. This is a deck, I used to play around with Ghostricks a lot. Back in the day when they first came out, I thought they were kind of fun. They're like a combo slash control style deck. But anyways, let's get to the deck and I'll explain my choices. So we got Ghostrick Mary. So I got one of these. It's pretty much the searcher of the deck. If you're not familiar with Ghostricks, they all have the same beginning effect where they cannot be normal summoned or set. They cannot be normal summoned unless you control a Ghostrick monster, but you can set them, and once per turn you can change this card to face down defense position. So I think every single Ghostrick monster has those first effects. So then the rest of this card is when you take when you take damage, so any kind of damage, you can discard this card to special summon one Ghostrick monster from your deck in face down defense position. And you can only use the effect once per turn. So pretty much just your searcher of the deck. It just pulls out whatever one you need. And these guys are really good at searching. That's the one thing that this archetype is good at. So then I got one Ghostrick doll. Also has all that text. But then during the end phase, change as many face-up monsters on the field as possible to face-down defense position. Then you can special summon one Ghostrick monster from your deck in face-down defense position. So again, more searching. And it has to be with the level less than or equal to the number of monsters flipped face down by this effect. So it's okay. I mean, a lot of your Ghostricks are either level 3, 2, or 1. So, I put 1 in here. Then I got 3 Ghostrick Jiangshi. Probably messed that up. This one also has, when this card is flipped face up, you can add to your deck, to your hand, one Ghostrick monster whose level is less than or equal to the number of Ghostrick monsters you control, and you can only use it once per turn. So he's got an 1800 defense, pretty good. This is the one you always want to pretty much start with. So then you could just start every turn just flipping it up and grabbing what you need. Then for a little bit of defense, we got Ghostrick Spectre. So pretty much when a Ghostrick monster is destroyed by opponent's card effect or by battle with their attacking monster and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand in face down defense position, and if you do, draw a card. So really cool. You get to replace the monster that just got destroyed. You get another monster on the field pretty much, and then you get to draw a card. So I put 2 of those in there, and 2 of the Jack Frost, which are when an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can change that opponent's monster to face down defense position, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand in face down defense position. So we do play a field spell that allows, or pretty much forces your opponent to always go do a direct attack. So it's really good that you can actually do this and flip their monsters face down. Plus I have other cards in this deck that I want to focus on keeping your opponent's monsters face down and stuff. So then we got 2 Lantern. This one is when an opponent's monster declares a direct attack again, or when a Ghostrick monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can negate that attack, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand face down defense position. So similar to the Jack Frost, just kind of negates the attack though. Then we got 2 of the Ghostrick Fairies. When this card is flipped face up, you can target one Ghostrick card in your graveyard, set that card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Then you can change face-up attack monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position, up to the number of set cards you control. So another card that controls your opponent's board and brings stuff back from the graveyard. And then you can probably just Xyz with whatever you bring back, so you don't have to worry about it getting banished. Then, just for fun, I threw in some skeletons, Ghostrick Skeletons. This is kind of like a secondary win condition. When this card is flipped face up, banish cards from your opponent's deck face down up to the number of Ghostrick monsters you control. Unfortunately, you can only use it once per turn. It's a hard once per turn. So I put 2 in here because, it can be disruptive. Even if it's just banishing your opponent's strategy, their cards that they need. But you can deck them out if you get into like a, standstill. Then I put 1 Ghostrick Mummy because he's big, he's 1500 attack. I want this to try and be the deck that you're going to attack with. And then when this card is face up on the field, you can normal summon 1 Ghostrick monster in addition to your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. You cannot special summon any monsters except dark monsters. So you got to be careful with this guy because, I do have an extra deck that has a few monsters that are not dark. But the majority of the cards that you probably would summon would be dark anyways. And then to round out the Ghostricks, I got 3 Ghostrick Stein, which is kind of like a Frankenstein. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can add 1 Ghostrick spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect once per turn. I put 3 in here just because of his, he's like, I think he's the biggest one. He's 1600 attack. So he's the one you're probably going to be wanting to attack with. And, you know, you'll always get a card out of him if you inflict damage to your opponent. So really good. So that's it for the monster lineup. Quite a big monster lineup, but these guys search a lot, so, you know, it's not too bad. So for some more searching, because I love to search and draw cards, we got Allure of Darkness. So you draw 2 cards, banish 1 dark. The whole deck is dark, so you'll always have a target. 1 Terraforming to get out the field spell. And the field spell is Ghostrick Mansion. There is a bunch of different ones. This is the one I like personally, but you know, you could try the other ones if you like them better. So monsters cannot attack face down defense position monsters, but they can attack directly if all monsters their opponent controls are face down defense position. So you want to focus on getting your opponent's monsters into face down defense position, and then you can start attacking directly. And then all effect damage and battle damage inflicted by opponents or by monsters other than Ghostrick's monsters are halved. So if your opponent has a lot of big beat sticks on the field, you're only going to take half the damage, which is cool. Then I threw just in 1 air traffic control, just as a fun card if to drop if your opponent manages to get 3 face down monsters. Then if they summon anything else, or any monsters that for that matter, they cannot declare an attack. So it kind of locks your opponent out of their attack. Just kind of a fun card. Then I threw in 1 Harpy's Feather Duster to deal with back row, 1 Raigeki to deal with your opponent's monsters if they really do flood the field. Because we're going to be turning a lot of monsters your opponent controls face down, 2 Noblemen of Crossout just to get rid of them. So that'd be, you know, just a answer to any problematic monsters, other than Link monsters, of course, because you cannot turn them face down. And then for the traps, we have 2 Ghostrick Knight. When a Ghostrick monster is on your side of the field, when a Ghostrick monster is on the field, your opponent cannot flip summon, and when this card is in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, your opponent cannot declare an attack. So what this is doing is, as long as you keep a Ghostrick monster face up, all your opponent's face down monsters cannot be flipped back up. So this will kind of lock your opponent up. Pretty cool. Then we got 2 Ghostricks Vanish. Reveal 1 Ghostrick monster from your hand this turn. Ghostrick cards you control and face down defense position monsters you control cannot be targeted by or destroyed by card effects. So this will stop your opponent from, you know, feather dustering you or any kind of shenanigans they might have. Then we have Ghostrick Scare. Target any number of face down defense position monsters you control, change them to face up defense position, count the number of Ghostrick monsters among them, and if you do change up to that many face up monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. So this is a really good one. This is the one that's going to lock all your opponent's monsters face down. And then I just threw in 3 Solemn Strikes just to deal with whatever effects that your opponent might play, or monsters you don't want them to summon. So that's pretty much the main deck. And then for the extra deck, I decided to throw in 1 Ghostrick Dolahan. This is an interesting one. It's 2 level 1 monsters, so you got a lot of level 1s in there. This card gains 200 attack for each Ghostrick card you control, which could be quite a bit after a while. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, then target 1 face-up monster on the field, have its attack until the end of the end phase. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 other Ghostrick card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So really good. I could only find 1 in my collection for some reason, but maybe I only have 1. But I'd probably play more than 1. So I just threw in a Slacker Magician, just being a rank 1. And then we got Ghostrick Succubus. It's a weird name. It's pretty much a 1400 beat stick, and while you control another Ghostrick monster, your opponent cannot target this card for attacks. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, then target 1 face-up monster on the field. Its attack is less than or equal to the combined attack of all Ghostrick monsters on the field. Destroy it. Then, if you do, that monster zone cannot be used while you control a Ghostrick monster. So kind of interesting card. It does a lot of different things, but you know, it's Ghostrick. And I just threw in a Gachi just for some defense in case I needed it, or a Sky Cavalry for some offense. Then we got 2 Ghostrick Alucard. This one's an interesting one as well. It's a zombie. 2 level 3 monsters, which you do play quite a few. Monsters your opponent controls cannot target face-up Ghostrick monsters or any face-down defense position monsters for attacks, except this one. And you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, then target 1 set card your opponent controls and destroy that target. You can only use the effect of Ghostrick Alucard once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you could target 1 other Ghostrick card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So again, more recursion effects, and destroying face downs is always good, especially when you're going to be flipping things around all the time. Then I just threw in an Acid Golem, just because, you know, 3000 attack can win you a game. Wind Up Zenmaines, Leviathan Dragon, Levier the Sea Dragon, and of course just some Link stuff. Link Karibo, Decode Talker, and Borrowload Dragon. Now, I don't know if you'd be going into the extra deck very often in this deck. Probably not as often as other decks, but, you know, just to have it there is kind of, you know, a backup plan. Anyways, let me know what you think of the deck. This is, you know, I've played around with this deck before, so I just thought I'd rebuild it again. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe. Leave some comments down below. Talk to you later.